disaster. The FAA is facing some tough questions about two crashes that killed hundreds of people. Good evening, I'm Chris Lawrence.
And I'm Marisa Vedra in tonight for Cynthia. Lawmakers want to know how the agency is going to keep you safe. Our Teresa Woodard has been closely watching this hearing from our Dallas newsroom and has much more on the topics of conversation. Teresa.
Yeah, this is a hearing that just wrapped up in D.C. The acting director of the FAA heard the toughest questions, and some senators took the opportunity to posture a bit, showing some outrage at FAA policies that have been in place for years, delegating oversight. In this case, Boeing insiders helped certify the Boeing plane as safe to fly, and senators are wondering if that is a relationship that is just too cozy. Texas Senator Ted Cruz chairs this committee. Members of this committee were asking whether pilot training was adequate and whether Boeing has too much power overseeing itself. Of course, the 737 MAX is flown by Dallas-based Southwest Airlines and Fort Worth-based American. That was the plane at the heart of today's hearing. Several members questioned why certain safety features on the 737 MAX were considered optional. That might have been the most heated moment in this hearing. A senator from Maine asking the FAA's acting director if seatbelts and airbags aren't optional in cars, why would any safety pieces on an airplane be optional?
Should all of these safety features been mandatory that could have alerted pilots and mechanics to issues with the sensors? Should they have been mandatory? Yes or no?
Senator, safety critical pieces of equipment on an aircraft are mandatory. That's what certification does. If it's safety critical.
So you don't think that they should have been mandatory? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you just said? They should not have been mandatory?
Sir, I'm saying that any safety
yes or no?
critical.
Should they have been mandatory? Yes or no?
Now, no one from Boeing was asked to testify today, but Senator Cruz says another hearing is expected soon, and Boeing will likely be called to appear at that one. Marie, Chris?
All right, thank you, Teresa. And you know, this is having an outside effect on folks flying through North Texas because Southwest has the largest number of MAX 8 jets. In fact, it says the groundings have cost the company about $150 million in revenue.